Welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Podcast, hosted by CRM technology and sales process expert Christopher Smith, talking with sales leaders that have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Listen to find out how the best of the best achieve success with their team and CRM technology. And remember, unless you are the lead dog, the view never changes.
Welcome to Sales Lead Dog. My guest today is Gerry Miller. Gerry is the founder and CEO of Cloudticity. Gerry, welcome to Sales Lead Dog.
Thanks, Chris. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to talk with you today. Tell me a bit about Cloudticity.
So we started Cloudticity 14 years ago with the sole purpose of helping healthcare organizations successfully leverage cloud. That's transformed into a significant area of business where we're helping providers, payers, health tech companies, governments from federal, state, local, academic medical centers, research organizations leverage the power of cloud technology to forward their mission and help with better clinical outputs, better economics, and just generally making the world a healthier place.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great mission. What was the idea behind? What was the idea behind, hey, I need to start this company? What did you see in the marketplace that gave you this mission?
Yeah, there were a few things. Around 14 years ago, there was very little digitization of health records. A health record meant that your doctor had a manila folder behind the receptionist, and if you needed to send your health information somewhere else, that person would have to fax it over. Around the time that we started, Congress had passed a law requiring the digitization of health data. And they did that in two phases. Phase one was the carrot. So Congress actually allocated $28 billion of funding to provide incentives to help primarily hospitals implement electronic health record systems, which later turned into fines for not having done so. So in the matter of a decade, EHR adoption, electronic health record adoption, went from 2% to 98%. So we had this mass digitization of health data. The second thing was, what do we do with so much health data? So how do we collect and operate on so much health data? And all of a sudden, cloud computing was coming into being. And so what used to be a massively expensive and technologically challenging problem of collecting so much digital health data became almost commoditized. And at the same time, cloud computing allowed us to spin up supercomputers in the sky and analyze these vast quantities of data, which allowed us then to engage with consumers through these devices that everybody has. So those three factors combined and made a business which was actually initially funded by that $28 billion of congressionally allocated funding, a viable business. And the beautiful thing about it is it helps people get healthier. And so the core vision of Cloudticity has always been helping every human on earth get healthier through the work that we do. And we suddenly had the means and the budget to do it. The business idea dropped into my lap and I couldn't say no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What are you seeing in the marketplace today that's giving you motivation and continuing this drive on your mission?
Well, technology continues to evolve. Governments continue to invest in healthcare. We're understanding more and more the full cycle of healthcare, which it doesn't actually start with caring for a sick person. That's actually sick care. It's providing data to people to allow them to eat healthier, to live healthier. Before we started this podcast, I'm still standing here, but my treadmill is running. So we walk all day and it's a healthier way of life. But the big difference today and what makes me so excited about tomorrow is AI and the affordability of it. As we continue to invest in cloud technologies, layering artificial intelligence on top of that, and imbuing that with all of these disparate data sets that healthcare brings, clinical data, genomic data, behavioral data, demographic data, we're able to continuously provide monitoring that helps people minute by minute by minute live healthier lives so we can avoid the sick care system. But once they do get sick, we can help them get healthier quicker with better accessibility to data, better indicators, and better ability to understand what's going on patient by patient.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a huge topic. Because it's central to everyone's life at some level.
It is. It is.
And you just, so having this information, having this ability to improve, that's huge.
Yeah.
Gerry, when you look back over your career, you've had a fairly diverse career. What are the three things, you had to boil it down, what are the three things that have really driven and led to your success?
That's an interesting question. I would say number one is passion for whatever I do. I get an idea in my head and I become passionate about it. And so I don't approach anything with less than 110% ferocity. I'd say the second thing is probably tenacity. I like to do things that people haven't done before. My favorite thing that you can tell me to motivate me is, well, that can't be done. Nobody's ever done that. So tenacity is really required to break through some of these things and just continue to go and go and go until you get it done. And the third thing I would say is courage, because it's really scary to go and do things that have never been done before. I think a lot of people confuse courage with fearlessness. Courage is not fearlessness. Fearlessness is reckless. Courage is the ability to operate in the face of fear. So every day I do wake up afraid. The stakes are super high, but I like to think that I can operate in the face of fear. And I would say those are the three sort of consistent characteristics that have helped me break through some pretty big challenges.
Oh yeah. Being an entrepreneur, if you're not tenacious, you're going to have a hard time. I mean, because you just don't know what's going to hit you, what's coming out of left field.
Yeah, for sure.
And no matter how much you think you're preparing and whatever, there's always stuff that pops up. And you just sometimes you just have to put your head down and just start pumping the legs and just go. Just keep pushing forward.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the Eagles call it the tush push. Everyone's just getting in the bomb. We're just gonna
That's right.
We're just gonna push forward as hard as we can.
Some days you have to just put your head down and grind.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're starting out in your career, what was the vision you had at that time, for where you thought you would be now?
I thought I would be a struggling jazz musician.
You're not the first musician person person who had the vision of being like a musician of some type on the show. Yeah.
Yep. I pictured myself drinking coffee in some smoky cafe and playing jazz or composing. So very different from how things turned out.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened to start you on this journey to where you are now?
Everything that has been reasonably successful in my life has been the result of a happy accident. I feel like I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. I think that you need to be receptive to opportunities that drop in your lap, because the universe or providence or whatever it is you call it puts nuggets of gold and opportunity in front of us day after day after day. And I think many of us just kind of walk by them. So I am very lucky, but I think much of it has been being receptive to the opportunities that pop up that are unexpected and diverge from the path that I thought I would be on. So being able to accept a diversion of where my life is going and try a new path when an opportunity arises has probably been a consistent factor that explains a lot of the different things that I've done throughout my career. But that the accidental discovery of an opportunity has been probably the single biggest factor in my career.
It's having that willingness to, or I don't know if it's willingness, but having your eyes open to opportunity.
Yeah.
Just being open to opportunity to see things. And then not only, a lot of people see opportunity, but not everyone's able to act on opportunity.
Yeah.
To me, that's really the key, is being able to act on opportunity.
And not everyone is going to pan out. Yeah. So you got to be willing to take a shot.
Hey, we're taking a quick break to thank you for listening to and supporting the Sales Lead Dog podcast. I want to take a moment and tell you about my book, CRM Shouldn't Suck. If your CRM feels more like a black hole for data than something that actually helps your team sell, you're not alone. The book breaks down why CRMs fail for so many businesses and what you can do about it. No fluff, just real strategies that work. So go to crmshouldn'tsuck.com to order your free copy right now. That's right, we're giving it away. And while you're there, take 2 minutes to check out the CRM Impact Score. It's a quick diagnostic that shows you how your CRM is really performing, where it's helping you and where it's hurting you. You'll get a personalized report with clear, actionable next steps you can start right away to maximize your CRM investment. We've also got blogs, videos, and a bunch of other resources to help you finally get the results you were promised when you bought your CRM. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of Sales Lead Dog. Okay, let's get back to this episode of the Sales Lead Dog podcast.
And many of those shops will fail and not take it personally. Just, figure out what you're going to learn from that and take that learning into your next job.
Oh yeah. And that's the tenacity part of it too. It's, when I started my first company, I was 23. It took me 3 years to get to revenue. Yeah. I come from a very large family. Everyone in my family laughed at me, thought I was crazy. What do you know about starting a business? I mean, I know nothing, but I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let what I don't know stop me from doing what I want to do. I'll figure it out.
Exactly right. Yep. Exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was your first big aha moment, in your career to where you're like, I'm really on the right path here?
Probably technology. I was a musician, and that was my course. But even when I started my first business, which was a recording studio back in the mid 1980s, the whole studio was run by computers. So what I didn't realize at the time was my real passion was technology. And all the way back in 6th grade, I was programming computers, green bar teletype terminals with acoustic coupler modems and dial-up, literal dial-up, like rotary dial phones. Oh, yes. And so the affinity for computers and just sort of this unrelenting curiosity about technology and the willingness to fail and fail and fail and fail to learn something new has been a consistent factor across a pretty diverse set of companies that I've founded.
Yeah. It's funny. I think you and I started about the same time, and I was planning on being an electrical engineer.
Okay.
But I didn't like anything about it other than the technology piece. And then it dawned on me one day, dude, you're chasing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so I always think there's usually at a moment like that. So that's
sure. Yeah.
What's the hardest thing that you experienced getting Cloudticity off the ground? What was that initial hurdle you had to get over? Was it personal or was it business?
It was personal for sure. I had exited from a number of companies already, and I thought I was done.
Yeah.
But when the universe drops a beautiful opportunity in my lap, I don't like to offend her. Right. So it was getting over that personal hump of, am I going to really commit to making this business? It can be a little lifestyle thing, or am I going to do what it takes to build a business? And, having done this a few times, I know that what it takes is everything. You can't do 99.9% and be successful. And that means a decade of giving everything else up and giving yourself entirely to the mission of the business. If you don't do that, you're not ready. So making that personal commitment that at least another decade of my life was going to be committed to something outside of myself. Yeah. That was the biggest hurdle. The business stuff, every day there's a challenge in the business, but that was by far secondary to the personal commitment that I had to come to.
Yeah. How do you manage that balance between committing 100% to this mission that you have, but you also have a personal life?
Yeah. Absolutely. And, during the time I got married, I've got kids, and, so here's the thing. I hear a lot the term work-life balance. And to me, that implies that you've got work and you've got life, and they are in opposition to each other. And somehow you need to find balance. I don't like that. I think in terms of work-life integration. Work is a part of my life that I love. I love what I do. I leap out of bed in the morning and I'm as excited as I am to go to work today as I was 14 years ago when we were a startup. And that doesn't have to be in juxtaposition to the fact that I can step off the treadmill and go make breakfast for my son and see him off to the school bus and do that maybe and get back on a conference call. And if I'm working from Seattle or I'm working from a beach in Thailand, that's okay. So the ability to weave work as one of the threads into a larger fabric of life is a great thing for me. It is never a struggle to balance work and life because work is just a part of life to me.
Yeah. No, I love that. Now, we had talked about, before we hit record on this, that one of the things you're very passionate about is enablement.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Where did that originate? Where did that start?
I don't know where it started, honestly, but one of my passions in life is seeing other people succeed. And, having experienced the luck of some success, I love to mentor young entrepreneurs. And, I left college to start my first business. And so I don't have a degree other than a PhD from the School of Hard Knocks. And if I can help somebody else not bump their head the way that I did, that's great. Similarly with my employees, I love watching people do things that they never thought that they could do, and to give them the room and the guidance and the space to become somebody that they never thought that they could become. It's great for the business, but it's great for humanity to give people the opportunity to grow into somebody that they just never thought that they could be.
Yeah. It's funny when I talk, I've done over 160 episodes of Sales Lead Dog.
Oh, cool.
And when I talk to people like you, one of the most common threads is, hey, I didn't do this alone.
Yeah.
I had a ton of help along the way. And so I want to pass that forward. I want to pass that along to others.
Absolutely.
And it is such a great feeling. You talk about coaching entrepreneurs. I love coaching and educating and doing that. People ask me how I recharge my batteries. That's a huge part of how I recharge my batteries.
Right.
And I get a feeling you're very similar to that.
Yeah. Having experienced some financial success, and also getting a bit older myself, you get to the point in life where you start to think about, what am I here for and what am I going to leave? And the ability to if I can it's so cliche, but just leave the world a bit better than when I got here, then, I've sent the ripple out in the universe. That I made a difference. And, we think about, I led an exercise at a company offsite we recently had, and I asked everybody, what's their greatest fear? And mine is irrelevance. Mine would be finishing, closing my eyes for the last time and not knowing that I made a difference. And so this constant striving for relevance, a big piece of that is you got to lift other people up, and you got to show people that they can be more than who they thought they could be. And that's a key piece of what drives me.
Was it always that way for you, or is this something that evolved for you?
Maybe it was always there. I don't know that I always had the opportunity to do that,
right.
But being in a position where I really can make a tangible difference in other people's lives through mentorship and empowerment. Now I can do it to a greater degree, whether or not it was there in a latent sense. I don't know.
Yeah. What advice do you have for someone that says, hey, I need someone like Gerry in my life? What advice do you have for them?
I'm not so great, honestly, but people, everybody has something to offer. Like my advice just in general is stop and listen here and there, because you can get tidbits of help from anybody. And if you pause and calm yourself and listen, you'd be amazed at who you can connect to. I find that a lot of people have two modes. They're speaking, or they're thinking about what they're going to say next.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can back yourself out of that and really, really be present and listen to those around you, you'd be amazed at what you can learn.
No, it's very true. I'll do a little experience share for the listeners. When I first started the podcast, I was so nervous about what's my next question? What's my next question? I'm going to ask this person. I realized that I'm not listening to the person I'm talking to. And I'm like, that's crazy. So it's like, calm down, have a conversation.
Yeah.
Just shut up and listen.
Yeah. It sounds so trite again, but shut up and listen is one of the greatest pieces. I wish somebody had taught that to me when I was a younger, brasher version of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things somebody told me too, I was talking to an entrepreneur earlier in my life, and he's like, Chris, if you want to help, just ask.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how many people will say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I started this podcast, I didn't know anything about doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And talked to a friend, he was like, oh, I know some people that have done podcasts. I'll connect you. Every one of them, sure, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, it helped me, it saved me so much pain talking to these people. I'm like, oh, don't do this. Don't, do this. Don't try that. I wasted so much money and time on that. That's invaluable when you're trying to get things launched.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody, we have a tendency to think like, oh, but we're different, or nobody's experienced what I'm experiencing.
Right. Yeah.
You're wrong.
No. Yeah.
There are people that have been out there and worse.
Yeah. Lose the pride. You don't know everything.
Yeah.
Listen, I love to learn. I learn from everybody every single day.
Yeah.
You have to open yourself to it.
Right. How did you build the culture at Cloudticity? Because I know that to really be successful, it's not just driving forward. It's creating a culture around your mission. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I think a lot of CEOs build a culture deck and they don't really build a culture. And the way that they do it is they go into the woods in a cabin for a weekend and they come back on Monday morning with a 250 slide deck and they go, here's our culture. And, then they try to mold people into that. And we didn't do that at Cloudticity. When we were very small, like it was just me and then another person. And when we were maybe 4 people, we were really focused on this vision of helping every human on earth get healthier. And something that we were doing was working. And we didn't really question it. We just did it. And we were growing and things were going well. And at a certain point, we realized that things were probably going to work for us and that we were going to scale. And we started to wonder, what is it that we're doing that is working so well so that we can actually bottle it and make it scale?
Yeah.
So we brought in a friend of mine who was an organizational consultant, and she spent months interviewing us and our customers and our vendors and our partners and everybody around us. And she went and built the deck and came back and said, but it wasn't what we should have as a culture. It was, what is it that makes us work? Yeah. And every day, every employee that we hire on their first day, first thing is they have a conversation with me personally, where we go over our 8 cultural principles and we talk about why what we do works. When we do our reviews, it is, how are you aligned with these culture? We hire according to culture. On the rare occasion that we have to fire, it's because of culture. When we give high fives and shout outs to people, we align it with, here's the cultural principle that this person exhibited. So everything comes back to the culture, and it's the culture, the original magic sauce that was working that we just discovered.
Yeah. I tell you, that hiring to culture.
Yeah.
When I learned that one, transformative.
Yeah.
It completely changed everything about how we hire.
Yeah.
And how we engage our clients. I mean, that's why I asked the question, because I figured you had a really good story there. And it is absolutely critical. And because you don't want robots, you don't want automatons, you want people that can bring their special talents and abilities, but you need everybody moving in the same direction in the same way. Having that clear focus on culture where it's truly embedded in the organization and not just a poster on the wall.
Right.
That's what it takes.
Yeah. And we really value diversity. And so we've got a wide variety of backgrounds and perspectives. And so, but when you have such a diverse group of people, what is it? What's the common thread that ties them together and unifies them? And that's the culture.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Have you hit any snags or I don't know if necessarily roadblocks, but some issues along the way where you're like, hey, maybe we need to make some adjustments here?
Yeah, every day. Every day it's a micro adjustment. And we've been through some, macro adjustments, of course. When we started, we built systems, healthcare systems for the cloud.
Right.
And then our customers came back to us and said, this cloud thing, it's really different than our data center. Can you manage it for us? So we realized that managing cloud was probably a better business for us than building stuff for cloud. And so we pivoted around that.
Right.
And then we realized that you can automate that. It's not a manual effort. It's really a software problem. And so we pivoted around that. So as opportunities have arisen, we've been pretty nimble at pivoting around those. I would say it's less roadblock oriented and more opportunity oriented.
Yeah. Yeah. What impact has that had on longevity of people in your organization, people sticking around?
Both, actually. Some people have, really enjoyed that fast-paced nature and the ability to continuously be at the forefront of the market. And some people at points of pivot said, I signed up to do something different. And I think, my time here is concluded. Yeah. And either outcome is okay. We support people in what they want. So it's affected longevity on both sides.
Yeah. And that to me should be expected that, that people grow, people change. And that's to me, that's a success, that if people are getting to the point where they feel comfortable to expand and go on and chase other opportunities, that's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
People, but you can't hold on to everybody forever.
And it goes back to that empowerment and that growing. Yeah,
exactly.
If somebody graduates from Cloudticity, moves on to bigger and better things because we didn't have the headroom for them,
right?
That mission accomplished from my perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I love that, to graduate. Yeah, because I think people need to think about it that way. Because this whole thing about enabling people is meaning they're growing. They're going in directions that you may not be able to support, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about your job?
Everything. I mean, every single day I walk into a playground and I get to pick which piece of equipment I can play.
I love that.
Yeah, I love everything about it.
Yeah, that's terrific.
There's hard stuff. Obviously, it's a job, right? But the good so far outweighs the bad. I can't even begin to tell you.
How do you deal with the hard stuff to where it's not bringing you down?
Spend time with my family. Yeah. When, being a CEO is hard, right? Like I got a staff of people that I'm responsible to, like they rely on me for their mortgage and for their car payments and their kids' tuition, and their groceries. And I got customers that rely on me for their businesses. We've got more than 100 million people's protected health information under our stewardship. They rely on us. And, the dirty secret about being a CEO is you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to make a decision and you don't really know the right answer. And so much is riding on that decision. And so that becomes hard. And you have to do it with a smile on your face because you certainly don't want to get on an airplane and the captain looks worried.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a bit of pressure that comes with that. And when I can just step off the treadmill and go play a game of pool with my 12-year-old or go cook dinner with my wife, that steam just blows right off.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Where do you see the future going with technology and healthcare and just AI and how this is all going to come together? That's everybody. That's all they ever hear in my world is AI, AI, AI.
Yeah. We'd have to schedule another pod. I mean, succinctly,
well, let me narrow the question for you.
Yeah.
How do you see it enabling the workforce in your world?
I think it's a phenomenal enabler. Our world it's already changed, and it's going to change much more dramatically than we've seen it. And so we're not going to have the haves and the have-nots. We're not going to have people displaced by AI. But what we are going to have is people who are willing to take the ride and people who are not. Yeah. AI is just at the tip of the iceberg with how it is going to transform our lives. AI was just sort of a trained parrot. At first, they call it a stochastic parrot because it's just, it connects words. But now it's connecting systems and it's connecting people and it's to be able to do things on our behalf. As we begin to, if you think about what happened when we moved from abacus to slide rule to calculator to computer, those are not incremental leaps. Those were exponential leaps. And AI is just continuing that trend. So for those that get on the bandwagon and really understand that they can give up some degree of human toil and leverage the incredible flexibility and speed of AI, and it's going to keep growing and becoming more and more capable. I've never been more excited about a technology. The flip side is it's terrifying. We have to make sure that we build security protocols and management protocols and all of the things that are necessary for really powerful technology. But as we harness it and work our way through some of those potential challenges, the world in 10 years is going to look so different than what it looks like today. And I couldn't be more excited about that.
Yeah, that's wild. Let's shift topics a little bit. CRM, do you love it or do you hate it?
It was just the most necessary evil. Yeah, I mean, we need it, but I spend way too much time managing it and dealing with all the things that are wrong with it and trying to keep data up to date and paying lots of money for it. So I love it for what it does, but I hate it for what it is.
Yeah. So what's the thing you love the most about it? Contrast that with, it sounds like I have an idea what you're going to answer for the thing you hate the most about it.
Yeah. I mean, what I love the most about it is especially we talk about AI, I can use AI now to really have conversations with my CRM data. And that's a cool thing. I'm not constrained to static reports and I can ask questions of my data now. I love that. Yeah. It gives me deeper insight into my business than I've ever had, but I still hate it because my data aren't clean and they're out of date and I've got stale data. I'm relying on people to update things. So I never know if my forecast is accurate or not.
Right.
It's fragile. Yeah. And that's what I hate about it.
Yeah. I just presented at a conference last week and it was on CRM Shinsock. And the first main slide of the presentation was data. It is your foundation. And as we're moving towards the advent of AI, leveraging AI within our tech platform, it's going to put a giant spotlight on your data. Mm-hmm. Because if I've got this great tool, AI, like you're saying, I want to start getting deep insight into my business.
Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Absolutely.
It's only going to be as good as the data you have in there. And so my message is start paying attention to your data, start getting your data cleaned up, start putting the protocols around it, whatever you need to do to begin truly treating your data like an asset.
Yeah, absolutely. It's critical. And what I really want to be doing is building great stuff for my customers, not curating data in a CRM.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't want to be a data jockey in CRM. Yeah. It's not adding value.
Right.
I want to be adding value to my customers and to my business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Gerry, we're at our time here on Sales Lead Dog. It's been absolutely awesome talking with you.
That's been fantastic. Thank you.
If people want to reach out and connect with you, if they want to learn more about Cloudticity, what's the best way for them to do that?
Cloudticity.com.
Terrific. He's also on LinkedIn. I recommend checking out his profile just so you get an idea of what he's done in his career. It's pretty wild.
Thank you.
If you have any issues getting that website, it's not a problem. You can go to our show notes at impellercrm.com/sales lead dog, where you'll get not only this episode, but all our 160 plus episodes of Sales Lead Dog. So be sure to check that out, subscribe so you get all our future episodes. Gerry, thank you so much for coming on Sales Lead Dog and welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Pack.
Thanks, Chris. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome.
As we end this discussion on Sales Lead Dog, be sure to subscribe to catch all our episodes. On social media, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Watch the videos on YouTube, and you can also find our episodes on our website at impellercrm.com/Sales Lead Dog. Sales Lead Dog is supported by Impeller CRM, delivering objectively better CRM for business, guaranteed.